Hello and welcome once again. So today, continuing with our beginners learning Blazor, and now today is part 7. It will be talking about lifecycle methods for components. Now, what are the various lifecycle methods for components, Razor components? So the first method is onInitialized or onInitialized async. So this method is invoked when the component is ready to start, having received its initial parameters from its parent in the render tree. Now for an asynchronous operation, this method is overridden when we want the component to refresh on completion of the operation. So the next method is onParameterSet or onParameterSet async. So the synchronous method and the asynchronous equivalent. Now, this method is invoked when the component has received parameters from its parents in the render tree and the incoming values have been assigned to properties. Okay. So finally, on after render or on after render async. So these methods are invoked after each time the component has been rendered. So we'll now flip over to Visual Studio and do some coding to demonstrate them practically. Now I have switched over to the Visual Studio and I will now create a Razor component and call it Lifecycle Test to test the first lifecycle method, that is onInitialized or onInitialized async. Okay, so let's click on add and then new item, and this Razor component dialog opens, add new item. So I will call this lifecycle test. So lifecycle test is created for me. So I will now make keep this header h3 header, and I'll put a add page directive below this add page, and navigate, allow the user to navigate to localhost /localhost:/port/lifecycle. And also I could just put this add page directive on top, just for the sake of convention. It doesn't matter, it will be the same thing. All right, so now there will be, in the code section, I will first fill the code section at code section so that everything takes care without any of these compile time or error of squiggly lines. So I will first create the fields and then call them. So create one title field, get set, it's public property, and then I'll just copy this over to create another field, call this title async, just to differentiate it from the title. So my plan is to populate the title and the title async from the onInitialized and onInitialized asynchronous version of onInitialized method. And then I will create two more public properties. So prop tab, and both are of string. Name one of them time rendered, and just copy it over to get to make the public property that is the asynchronous version of this one. So public string time rendered async. Okay. So all the squiggly lines are gone. And now comes the actual fun. I will call the onInitialized method and decorate it with the protected override void doesn't return anything, and onInitialized. You have it on the IntelliSense, so which is here, and I'll just put a pair of curly braces and initialize the title to be hello world, and assign the time rendered field, time rendered, from this method, within this method, to be the present time dot to string version of date time. So date time dot now dot to string. So the current time converted to string, right? And then copy it over and then paste it, change the onInitialized to onInitialized async and title to title async, and time rendered to time rendered async. Okay, and just change this to hello world from async, and a couple of more changes. So because this is an async method, so I'll have to return a task, and this task needs to be returned asynchronously for it to be an async method. And then I'll have to make the await call. So I will put a delay. I will await on this task, await task dot delay of say 2 seconds or 2000 milliseconds, just to make it async. I need to actually put 2 paragraphs in which the time will be recorded, and synchronously and asynchronously. So that will complete this part. So within paragraph and end paragraph tag, let me put I was rendered at time rendered, and then put another paragraph which will render the asynchronously recorded time at time rendered async. Right. So let's run it once more, again with Control F5. So now you can see that, I was lifecycle test, I was rendered at 6 hours 11:52 seconds, and I was rendered at 6:11:54 to 2 seconds later. So this one was the async operation. So let me do the next lifecycle method was OnParameterSet and OnParameterSet async. So let's write the code for that, and I will create another lifecycle test. This time it will be lifecycle test1.razor. So I'll add another component, razor component. So new item. This time I will call it lifecycle test1. So lifecycle test1. So lifecycle test1 is made for me. Okay. This typo here. Okay. Don't worry, because of this name, which I typed capital I after L. So anyway, it doesn't matter at all. So in this one, I will put the at page directive again on top. So at page, and within double quotes, it will be browsing, it will be navigating to lifecycle 1, and this will be lifecycle 1 test 1. This will be a test of OnParameterSet and OnParameterSet async demo. Now I have changed the title to OnParameterSet and OnParameterSet async demo header. So this one, there is a for each loop at the beginning, but I will keep it for a later stage. Let me finish this code part. Okay, so within the code section, I will declare a list of string. So list string event type or type of event is equal to new list string and then I will call this lifecycle method. So protected again. This time we are going to test OnParameterSet. So override void this one OnParameterSet, and at runtime I will add to the type of event an event type of event. Okay, so type of event dot add, a string will be added. So let me write on parameter set is called. All right, and then I'll just copy this over to save some time, and then this time it will be again async task. This is async returns task and call this OnParameterSet async as per convention. Now this OnParameterSet is called, here it will be OnParameterSet async is called, and before that, like in the first lifecycle method on initialized async, there will be a delay. I will introduce await. So again, similar code task.delay, and let me introduce again 22,000 milliseconds or 2 seconds delay. All right. So here I have to get a for each loop with for each at for each var item in event type. Here to be event type. So I didn't get anything here. There is no event type but type of event, because I was not writing anything on this page. Actually it was just showing me the header. So this time it will be showing the things that we are after, and then put a horizontal line. Okay, so again Control F5 to run the application. So OnParameterSet is called, OnParameterSet async is called. You can see that it was called a bit later. It acted a bit later because of this time delays, because of this asynchronous operation. So today we have seen these following methods: onInitialized and onInitialized async, OnParameterSet, OnParameterSet async, and OnAfterRender and OnAfterRender async method. So that's all. Thank you.